All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at what might be one of the biggest, most ambitious democratic projects on the entire planet, India's Panchayati Raj. It's an incredible story about taking power and putting it right where it belongs, at the most local level you can imagine, the village itself. So just to give you an idea of the sheer scale we're talking about, look at this number. That's 250,000 local governments, 250,000. Each one is a small, elected body responsible for its own community. This isn't just some number on a side, it's the fundamental architecture of democracy in India, built from the grassroots up. And here's where it gets really interesting. Look at who's actually running these local governments. Almost half, nearly 50%, of all the elected leaders are women. That's pretty much at parity. This makes it one of the most inclusive systems of governance anywhere in the world. And it has a real impact, often shifting the focus to crucial issues like local health, clean water, and schools. This right here gets to the heart of what this system is all about. This isn't some abstract, high-level policy debate. This is about solving the real, everyday problems that people face. Think about it. Getting a broken water pump fixed used to mean getting approval from some distant government office. Now, that power, that decision, rests with the people who actually use the pump. So, how in the world do you organize a system this massive? Well, it's not random. It's built on a really clear three-tier framework that's specifically designed to decentralize power. Let's break down how that actually works. This idea didn't just appear out of thin air. The concept of village councils is ancient in India, but the modern system really started taking shape in 1957. The absolute game changer, though, came in 1993. That's when the 73rd Amendment to the Constitution gave this system real teeth, real constitutional power, and made it mandatory across the entire country. And here is that three-tiered structure. It's like a pyramid of local power. At the very bottom, at the village level, you have the Gram Panchayat. Then, in the middle, you have a block Panchayat, which kind of coordinates a whole cluster of villages. And at the top of this local structure is the district Panchayat, which handles planning for the whole district. But really, the absolute foundation, the heart of this entire system, is something called the Gram Sabha. Now, this is not an elected body. This is a meeting of every single registered voter in the village. They come together, they approve the plans, they look at the budgets, and they hold their elected leaders directly accountable. It's about as close to pure direct democracy as you can get. Now, you might be thinking this all sounds a little old-fashioned, right? Village meetings and all that. Well, think again. This decades-old system is getting a massive 21st century upgrade. Let's look at how technology is totally transforming governance at the grassroots, making it more efficient and transparent than ever. Yeah, you heard that right. It all starts with something that sounds like science fiction, mapping entire villages from the sky. There's a program called the Swamitwa scheme, and it's using drones to create incredibly accurate digital maps of every single house, every single plot of land in a village. So, why is this such a big deal? Well, for generations, most people in rural India didn't have formal legal documents for their property. This changes everything. It creates clear land records, which cuts down on property disputes. But even more importantly, it means people can now use their property as a financial asset, to get a loan to start a business, and of course, it helps the local government plan for the future. And just so we're clear, this isn't some tiny little pilot project. We're talking about a nationwide rollout on an almost unimaginable scale. As of early 2024, drone surveys were already done in over 300,000 villages. Just let that number sink in for a moment. And the tech doesn't stop with drones. Think about how meetings get documented. The old way, someone's sitting there trying to manually write down everything that's said. The new way, there's an AI tool called Sabasar that just listens to a recording of the meeting and automatically spits out the official minutes. And get this, it can do it in 23 different languages. Wow. All of this stuff, the maps, the meeting minutes, the finances, it all comes together on a single digital platform called eGram Swaraj. Think of it as the digital nervous system for every local government. They use it to plan projects, manage every single rupee with total transparency, and make online payments. The key thing here is that everything is tracked, which is a huge boost for accountability. Okay, technology is an amazing tool. But at the end of the day, the goal has always been about empowering people. So let's shift gears and look at the specific ways this system is designed to make sure that every single voice has a chance to be heard. So the system has these programs baked right in to encourage inclusion. For example, there are initiatives to create what are called women-friendly local governments. There are programs where high school students run their own mock meetings to learn how democracy works firsthand. And very importantly, there's a special law that protects the unique rights of tribal communities to govern themselves. And this isn't just theory. There's real action behind it. Look at this number. Almost 150,000 elected women leaders have gone through specialized training programs to build their skills in leadership, communication, and decision-making. That's a serious investment in making them more effective governors. That law I mentioned for tribal communities, it's called the PESA Act. And it's so important because it officially recognizes the authority of the Gram Sabha in areas with large tribal populations. It basically ensures that their traditions and their customary ways of doing things are at the center of their own self-governance. All right, so you've got the structure, you've got the technology, and you've got the people. But big plans and local projects don't happen without resources, right? So for our last section, let's follow the money and see how this whole thing is actually paid for. Just take a look at this chart. It shows the money from India's Finance Commission that goes directly to these rural local governments. I mean, look at that jump. The amount of funding has nearly doubled in just 5 years. This is a massive increase in direct, predictable funding that flows straight down to the village. And that's part of a much bigger trend. The total central government budget for rural development has exploded by over 200% in the last decade alone. This financial empowerment is what actually turns a local plan into a new road, or clean drinking water, or a better school. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? National progress rests on empowered, self-reliant villages. The whole philosophy here is that you don't build a strong nation from the top down. You build it from the bottom up, one strong, self-sufficient village at a time. Which really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? We've seen the unbelievable scale, this deep democratic structure, and the incredible tech that's transforming it. So can this model, this hyper-local democracy, supercharged with technology, really build a stronger, more fair nation from the ground up? It's a fascinating experiment, and one we should all be watching. Thanks for joining me.